Hey, good morning. I'm Tom Llewellyn, and this is the series on how to vote, how should you vote, maybe versus how the politicians want you to vote. And it's kind of a National Socialism versus democratic capitalism. Right? And what does that mean? And we've gone through a few things, and today I want to talk about self-interest versus selfish interest. Self-interest, it sounds like, that terrible person, they're acting in their self-interest. Well, we all do, but it's not selfish interest. So let me put it in perspective a little. So over 200 years ago, in 1776 of all years, a young Scotsman wrote a book called The Wealth of Nations. And it talks about trade and a whole bunch of things and how nations have gotten rich at the time, or more rich than others, let's say. One of the examples, and this is the first interest or time that I've been able to discover the use of the word self-interest, at least in an economic sense. And he has lots of examples, and one of them is a plumber. And his take is, look, a plumber just can't, carve stuff up, put his thumb on the scale or charge you extra and assume the guy that or woman that's going to buy this stuff is ever coming back, right? They feel like they're screwed. They're going somewhere else if they can. Obviously, transportation was a little different back then than it is now. You may only have one butcher in the area, but at the end of the day, they'll eat something different. They won't have pork. And that's self-interest. It's a collaborative thing. I mean, this is how we work with each other. We collaborate. We make friends, or we don't make friends, right? Those people that are selfish or arrogant or just jerks tend not to fall into the crowd you're with if most of those people are really nice. Most people are really nice. At the end of the day, they're trying to figure out how to engage one another. That's that collaboration. And maybe it goes back to, something out of the Bible. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I think it even goes farther back. I mean, it's a noted thing, I think, in Hinduism, the same style of thing. Treat people well because you want them to treat you well. It's just part of the collaborative nature of human beings. Now, selfish interest is not. How many people do we know that, we've tried to engage them and it's all about them. You can't get them to give you 1 inch of the way in terms of association, right? It's just about them. And we've seen Bernie Madoff, it's all about him, right? He was taking people's money and just screwing them, right? And, at one point when everybody figures it out, it's not for much fun, right? Government may be the most selfishly interested group, or at least the political nature of government, because it's all focused on what? That person getting elected. They will do almost anything, say almost anything, spin almost anything to assure they get elected. Once elected, they will, many times spend to get themselves reelected. And that's not the way good things work. I would say socialism versus capitalism. Capitalism is always going to have selfish people. The great thing about capitalism, there's guardrails, and you're one of them. You don't buy products from jerks or people that make crummy products that don't work. You don't go back again, right? So there's some guardrails already built in. There's some guardrails, like at the SEC, what do companies have to do in terms of reporting their financials to help us assure that they're actually doing what they're saying, right? So there's guardrails. In socialism, it's based on this selfish notion that there is some small group of experts that know how to do things and just get out of our way, right? The education system is set up, how many parents in Virginia were a little upset when the governor said, well, parents don't need any input here. It's like, what? But that expert-based system where the elites, and again, experts, and the ultimate secular theist, our cancel culture, out there telling you, well, if you don't believe in what we're doing, you're just wrong. Well, that's the ultimate in selfish interest, right? Most of us aren't like that. We're pretty good people, right? We act in our self-interest, we collaborate, we engage, we do favors. expecting maybe we'll get a favor back, right? You lend the guy next door your hedge trimmer, you kind of expect it to come back. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, maybe he's not your friend, right? So there's, really big differences. People can be selfish. Let me tell you right now, but it's not a long-term strategy. It is never a long-term strategy because you get cut off once you do that. So self-interest, though, people are kind of getting. They understand that they have to collaborate to succeed in life. You can't operate alone, right? And that's what self-interest is, a collaborative nature of human beings interacting as a collection of individuals to get better. And that's self-interest. The selfish interest stuff, you may be voting for it. You may not want to, or you may think it sounds good, but it's a dangerous path. Anyway, I'm Tom Llewellyn, and I will talk to you next week. Haven't decided quite yet, but it might be optimism versus pessimism. So we'll go with that. I'll talk to you soon.